Stop right now, whatever you were doing, stop, because I need you to hear something that nobody in your life has ever had the guts to tell you. You are capable of more. Not in a motivational poster kind of way, not in a you can do it champ kind of way. I mean literally, physiologically, scientifically, your brain and your body are wired to do far more than you have ever demanded of them. But here's the problem: you stopped demanding. You stopped pushing, you stopped believing, and the world around you, your comfort zone, your doubters, your own voice in the mirror, it applauded you for stopping. They called it being realistic. I call it dying slowly. Today we end that. Today we light a fire so deep inside you that no amount of failure, fear, or fatigue can put it out. This isn't a feel-good speech. This is a wake-up call. This is your last warning. And when this is over, you are going to look in that mirror and say 3 words you stopped believing. I can do it. Let me take you back. Way back, you were 4 years old, maybe 5, and you had this dream, something wild, something massive, something that made your little heart pound like a drum. Maybe you wanted to be an astronaut, a world champion, a great inventor. Maybe you just wanted to matter, and then somebody laughed, or worse, somebody was kind about it. Somebody said, "That's sweet, honey." But let's be practical. Practical, the single most dangerous word ever spoken to a dreaming child. And it started there. One word, one dismissal. One that's not for people like you. And your brain, that incredible, powerful, terrifying machine sitting inside your skull, it logged that. It filed it away under truth. Then it happened again. And again, your teacher gave you a C when you tried your hardest. Your parents told you to have a backup plan. Your friends rolled their eyes when you talked about your ambitions. Your first boss told you weren't leadership material. And every single time, your brain updated its file, not because it was true, but because repetition is the language of belief. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a lie told 1,000 times and the truth. It only knows frequency, volume, repetition. They lied to you and you believed it. And then you started lying to yourself. The most dangerous prison ever built has no bars, no guards, no walls. It has one door and it's always been unlocked. But you haven't moved toward it in years because you convinced yourself the cage is all there is. You look around at your life and you say, "This is just how it is for me." You call it your personality, you call it your circumstances, you call it bad luck, bad timing, bad genetics. You call it reality, but I'm going to tell you what it really is. It's a story. And stories can be rewritten. David Goggins, a man who grew up in poverty and abuse, who was overweight and failing, decided to become a Navy SEAL. People told him no. His body told him no. His past told him no, and he told all of it, "Watch me." Nick Vujicic was born with no arms, no legs. He tried to take his own life at 10 years old. Today he travels the world telling people that limits are a choice. That belief is a choice. That I can do it is a choice. Wilma Rudolph couldn't walk as a child. Doctors said she never would. She won 3 Olympic gold medals. Every single one of them was told the same thing you were told. You can't, you're not enough. Be realistic. Every single one of them had the same choice you have right now. Believe the lie or burn it down. Here's what your brain actually does with belief. Neuroscientists call it neuroplasticity. Your brain physically rewires itself based on what you repeatedly think and do. Every thought you think carves a groove in your neural network. The more you think it, the deeper the groove. The deeper the groove, the more automatic the thought. So when you keep thinking, "I can't," you aren't just having a bad day. You are physically sculpting a brain that believes you can't. You are building the biology of limitation. But here's the miracle: you can unsculpt it. You can rebuild it. Starting today, the same neuroplasticity that built your cage is the exact same force that will break it if you choose to use it. Every time you say, "I can do it," and mean it, a new pathway fires. Every time you act despite fear, a new pathway fires. Every time you get up off the floor, a new pathway fires. And slowly, not overnight, not in a week, but relentlessly, consistently, brutally, a new brain emerges. A new person emerges. You are not your past. You are your next decision. I need you to understand something right now. The fight of your life isn't happening out there. It's not against your competition. It's not against your economy. It's not against the people who doubted you. The fight is in here, in your skull, and it never stops. There are two voices living inside every single human being on this planet. Two voices in constant war. The first voice is loud, it's confident, it sounds wise, it sounds like protection. It says, be careful, stay safe. What if you fail? What if people laugh? What if you're not good enough? What if you try and lose everything? That voice has a name. It's called fear, and it has one goal: to keep you exactly where you are. Fear doesn't want to destroy you, it wants to preserve you, and in doing so, it will destroy everything you could have become. The second voice is quieter, much quieter. It doesn't scream. It doesn't argue, it just whispers. And what does it whisper? Try, you can do it, get up, keep going, you have something to give. That voice, that's the real you. That's the version of you that was here before the world got to you. That's the child who hadn't been told no yet. That's the champion inside a body that forgot it was one. Let me tell you exactly what happens when you give up. Not emotionally, physically, because most people think quitting is a decision. It's not. Quitting is a habit. You accidentally trained your nervous system to perform. When things get hard, your cortisol spikes. Your brain interprets discomfort as danger. And your amygdala, the ancient reptilian part of your brain, screams, retreat. And if you've retreated before, that pathway is already carved. Your brain already knows the route. Giving up becomes automatic. Every time you quit, you make quitting easier. Every time you push through, you make pushing through easier. This is not metaphor, this is neurobiology. So when it gets hard, and it will get hard, and that voice says, just stop, understand what's really happening. Your brain is running an old script. A program written by past failures and past fear and past people who told you to stop. And you have the power to override it. David Goggins calls it the 40% rule. And I want you to tattoo this on the inside of your brain. When your mind tells you you're done, you are only 40% done. Read that again. When your body hurts and your mind screams stop and everything in you is begging to quit, you still have 60% left in the tank. 60% you have never touched. 60% that has never been tested. Most people live their entire lives inside that first 40%. They never find out who they really are because they never made it to 41%. Think about that for a second. You have never met your real self. The person you are capable of being, you don't even know them yet. What if the best version of you is just on the other side of the hardest thing you've ever done? I want to talk about comfort, because we live in the age of comfort. Everything is designed to be easier, faster, softer, less painful, and I understand why. Comfort feels good, comfort is safe, comfort is warm, but comfort has a price. And that price is paid in the currency of your potential. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you pay. Every time you hit snooze instead of rising, you pay. Every time you scroll instead of study, settle instead of strive, coast instead of climb, you pay. The bill doesn't come today. It comes at the end of the road when you look back at your life and ask, what did I do with the time I had? What did I do with the gifts I was given? What did I do when it got hard? Comfort is the slow theft of your destiny. The greats didn't choose comfort. Ali trained when his lungs burned. Kobe Bryant was in the gym at 4 a.m. Oprah Winfrey kept going after she was fired from her first TV job and told she was unfit for television. Elon Musk slept on a factory floor when Tesla was dying. They all had the same option you have right now: comfort or greatness, ease or excellence, stop or push. They chose the hard thing, and so can you. The war isn't dramatic. Let me be brutally honest with you. The war looks like 5:30 a.m. when the alarm goes off and your bed is warm and nothing is forcing you to get up. The war is that moment, not some epic battlefield. Just you and a choice. The war looks like sitting down to work on your dream when Netflix is right there. The war looks like eating clean when everyone else is ordering pizza. The war looks like making one more phone call when you've already been rejected 15 times today. The war is small, it is daily. it is relentless. And it is won or lost in those tiny invisible moments that nobody else sees. Your character isn't built in a crisis. It's built in the quiet moments when nobody's watching. I want you to stop for a second, just breathe, and I want you to think about everything you've already survived. I'm not talking about the triumphs. I'm talking about the nights when you didn't know how you'd make it to morning, the losses that unmade you, the betrayals, the failures. The moments you hit the floor and didn't know if you'd get up. You're here, you made it. Everything you thought would kill you didn't. You are still standing. That's not an accident. That's not luck, that's something in you, something fierce and stubborn and impossibly resilient that refused to let you stay down. You've done impossible things before. You've walked through fire before, and you're still here, which means you can do it again, which means you can do more. The proof that you can do it isn't in some future version of yourself. The proof is already inside your history. You just forgot to look at it. I want to tell you how people actually change, not how motivation works. Motivation is temporary. I'm talking about permanent bone-deep transformation, the kind that sticks. It starts with identity, not goals, not habits, identity. Most people say, I want to run a marathon, and they try to behave like a runner, but when it gets hard, they remember, I'm not really a runner, I'm just someone trying, and they stop. The person who actually becomes a marathon runner says, I am a runner, and then they do what runners do. They run, not because they feel like it, because that's who they are. Change what you believe about yourself, and your behavior becomes inevitable. So right now, I need you to make a declaration, not a goal, not a wish, a declaration of identity. I am someone who doesn't quit. I am someone who does the hard work. I am someone who gets up every single time I fall. I am someone who can do it. Say it until your brain believes it. Say it until your cells believe it. Say it on the days it feels like a lie, especially then, because that's exactly when the wiring starts to change. Here's what most people don't understand about the words, I can do it. They think it's about feelings. They think they have to feel confident before they can say it. That's completely backwards. You don't say I can do it because you feel ready. You say it to become ready. Belief precedes proof. Courage precedes confidence. Action precedes certainty. Think about compound interest. $1 invested today doesn't look like much, but compounded over 20 years, it becomes a fortune. Your daily belief works the same way. Every morning you wake up and choose to believe, even a little, that you can do it. You are making a deposit. Some days the deposit feels worthless. Some days you can barely muster the belief. But it compounds, it builds, and one day, one unremarkable Tuesday, one anonymous morning, you wake up and you realize something has changed. Not the world, you. You don't just say, I can do it anymore. You know it. I want to leave you with some names, not legends. Real people, people who had every reason to say, I can't. A young woman told by her college professor that she was not a writer went on to create one of the most beloved fantasy series in history. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter was rejected by 12 publishers. She kept saying, I can do it, in an empty apartment with a newborn baby and no money. A man who failed at farming, at business, at law, who lost election after election, who suffered debilitating depression, kept showing up. Abraham Lincoln became the president who held a nation together through its darkest hours. He had every excuse to stop. He had every reason to believe he couldn't. He kept going anyway. A young boy from rural China who was rejected by Harvard 10 times, who failed his college entrance exams twice, who applied to work at KFC and was the only person rejected out of 24 applicants. Jack Ma built Alibaba, one of the largest companies on earth. He said he carried one phrase with him through every rejection, I can do it. They didn't have certainty, they had a decision. And that is available to you right now, not when you're ready. Not when conditions improve, not when you figure it all out. Right now, in exactly the circumstances you're in, with exactly the resources you have, the decision is available to you. I don't want you to leave this video and feel good for an hour and then forget everything I said. I've done that, you've done that, it doesn't work. I want you to do something right now. Before you do anything else, write down the one thing you've been telling yourself you can't do, the thing that keeps you up at night, the dream you've been holding hostage inside your own head. The version of your life you keep imagining and then dismissing as impossible. Write it down. Now right underneath it, I can do this, not maybe, not I'll try, I can do this. Now what is one step, not the whole plan, not the entire journey? One step you can take today, just today. One email you can send, 1 hour you can spend, one conversation you can have. One decision you can make. Do that one step today before the feeling fades. Because here is the truth. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not made of years. It's made of decisions, it's made of moments, it's made of days exactly like today. And every day you do the one thing, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard, even when nobody's watching, you close that gap. 1 inch, 1 day, one decision at a time, you can do it. I am telling you, you can do it. The question was never whether you're capable. The question is whether you'll decide. There was a version of you that didn't think you'd make it this far. A version of you that believed the lies, that accepted the ceiling, that stayed in the cage. That version is gone because you're here. You found this. Something in you needed to hear these words today, and something in you knew that. That something, that's the real you. That's the fighter. That's the one who doesn't quit. That's the one who knows deep down in their marrow that they have something left to give. Don't waste it. The world doesn't need another person who played it safe, who stayed comfortable, who died with the music still in them. The world needs you, the real you, the version of you that decides today is different, that today the story changes. So get up, step forward, do the work. Take the hit, get knocked down, stand up, do it again. And when your mind says I can't, look it dead in the eye and say, I can do it. Now go prove it. Because we live